What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So today we have quite a few things that I need to handle. First things being harvesting these onions. Finally, all of them have fallen over, so I really need to get them up out of the ground. Everything needs to be watered in, but before we do all of that, I also want to sow some seeds. I do need to amend the areas that we will be pulling the onions from, because we're gonna go right back behind it with some beans. And I am making the executive decision to handle this unruly plant here. So at the beginning of the season, I planted what I thought was a Cosmo, and this has like sprung up and is humongous and like really taken over the corners of each one of these beds. So I have one here and over in that corner as well. Like I said, they are taking over the spot, and I still have yet to get one bloom from it. So today they gotta go because they are hogging space of the tomato plants that we have on the ends. And these just so happen to be my Cherokee purple, and honey, they need some sun so they can get that coloring that we like. And then also my dahlias, I want them to shine because they are putting off blooms. I mean, get into it. The luxuriousness of it all. Like, gorgeous, gorgeous. I need them to shine, and they can't shine with all of that. And over here it's the same thing. Glorious blooms here coming on, and then this doing nothing. I mean, off the resip, that looks so much better. That's going to allow my zinnias here to do what they need to do. I need to trim these back so they begin to bush back. But you see, I have my blueberries here, and they get a little bit of sun, but now they'll be able to really get all the sun they need to produce those black fruits. Love it. Oh, I know you see it. Oh, I know you see it. Purr, purr. We'll get those later. I don't know if y'all caught all of the butterfly action that I'm getting, but we have a swallowtail that's out here swirling around, and I actually see where we have some caterpillars. I'll give you guys a close up here soon, but use it. I'm gonna get into it. We got tomatoes. This isn't the first one that I picked off of this sun gold here. It's probably the third one, but yeah, we starting to get tomatoes, y'all. Cherry tomatoes, but tomatoes nonetheless. All right, so you can see I just went through and thinned this area out significantly. It was overgrown with a ton of leaves and then just overgrown suckers and things like that. But I wanted to show you guys just how beautifully the tomatoes are doing. This is a blueberries here. Like I said, the sun gold has already started to give us some fruit. So that's that one there. This, I believe, is a, oh, it's the, my tag is here, but I used Sharpie, so it's all gone. If I remember, I'll put it on the screen, but this is doing beautifully over here. And then my Romas, you guys, so I have the Pianello Vesuvio, I think is what it's called. And I remember telling you guys that I was concerned about whether or not I was gonna like this plant. So on the seed packet, it had these like large clusters of fruit, and that's what I was attracted to the most. And I got that this year. So yeah, that is what one of the lovely clusters is looking like. There's another one back here, another one forming, another one forming. So this one is doing beautifully as well. This one here, I want to say is just probably one of the typical Romas. I've never had clusters of fruit like this on my plants before, so I am thoroughly impressed. And then I believe this one is the what is it called, the Russian purple Roma, maybe, I don't know, but this one has a huge clusters of fruit forming as well. And then down here we have the Brad's Atomic, which is doing much better than it started off doing. You can see I have some beautiful fruits forming, so super pleased with this trellis overall. Now on this side, it's a little bit different. It's a different story. These are all of my slicers, and I honestly feel like they should have progressed a little bit better by now. I was looking at them earlier and I seen some of the leaves just look a little depleted, so I'm feeling like I'm gonna do a really good fertilizing of these guys just to give them a boost in growth. But I do still have some fruit set, not as prolific as my Roma and cherries on the other side, but still doing well. This one here is the Oxheart, which that does not look like an Oxheart. We have the orange accordion here. Beautiful fruit. Never grown this before. It looks amazing. This one is the red Brandywine, which it has some fruit forming. This one is kind of cat-faced here. You can see that's when you have multiple blooms fuse together to create one large fruit. This one is the orange accordion, which by far is the biggest, funkiest looking tomato growing out here so far. And then we have the mushroom basket, which that guy is gorgeous as well. Nice little clusters of fruit on this. And then this one here is the Cherokee purple, which was kind of getting choked out by that the plant that we just pulled out here, the supposedly Cosmo. So not a lot of fruit on this guy yet, but I'm hopeful that it can rebound and begin to give us more. So all in all, my slicers aren't looking amazing right now, but I am still hopeful that I'll get some as the season progresses a little bit more. They do tend to take a little bit longer as well, like the cherries and Romas. Those are definitely like early day varieties. I want to say like 75-day varieties or something like that. So these slicers, they will take a little bit more time, but like I said, I will go in and do like a heavy feed of all of these guys so they can get an extra boost, especially now that it's warmed up. I noticed a lot of the blossoms beginning to like kind of dry out and fall out or fall off. So let's move on to our next task. Real quick, I want to show you guys, this is a fennel. It looks like it's beginning to go to seed, but you can see we have some larvae for some sort of butterflies. I want to say this is for swallowtail. Somebody else correct me if I'm wrong, but have quite a few on this plant. And then I noticed some over here as well. I think I just seen the one on this side, but really excited to host some butterflies over here in my garden. All right, the onions, you see, I do not have just very large bulbing happening, but I'm not mad at this size here. This is probably one of the larger ones. So what we're gonna do is go through, harvest all of these guys over here and over here, just to clear out some space and all of that good stuff. So let's just get to it. It's getting hot out here, y'all. So one thing off the rip that I know that I will do next time I plant onions, I will definitely allow them to have a space where they will literally have just a world of their own, so I can keep up on top of the watering, the fertilizing, and all of that good stuff, and also so they have room to stand on their own. I think that I sowed these extremely too dense and intense, which was actually my goal, but just not thinking of everything else that was going to surround these. They definitely need more space to kind of harden off as far as like their stems are concerned, to like kind of stand on their own and like really reach up towards the light and bulb up nicer than what they did. I'm not mad at this at all, because food is food. Onion will eat the same. It's going to be difficult to peel these onions and to use them up the way that I would like to, but yet and still, an onion is an onion. So I'm not mad 100%, but moving forward, I am definitely going to go in with a little bit more intention as far as giving them their own space. So let's go on ahead, harvest this other bed. All right, so now let's do a quick run through of everything else happening in the garden. Starting with my green stalks here. I actually recently picked up some strawberry plants that were on clearance. These are the rose flowered strawberries. I picked up 5 of those, and they were, I want to say, like $150 each, so I thought it was a pretty good buy. So I got those to go over here. Everything else is pretty much the same. Soon enough I will be popping in some lettuces just to replace the pockets that are empty. And then over here I put in some more strawberries. These ones are just like your typical red. I don't even know if they are June bearing or ever bearing. I don't know, but they already had runners on them, so I grabbed these up because these will propagate pretty fast. Same thing over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I actually only grabbed 4 of those, but like I said, they were already putting off runners, so I have just been taking a little nodule here wherever I can. You can see this one is sticking down in the dirt, and it already has a little bit of root popping off here, so I will just tuck that back in that pocket there, so that will eventually become another plant. And then, like I said, some more here. This one is actually the one that was successful from this year, and it began to put off some runners as well. So you can see in this pocket I have some rooting there and there. So already just from this one, it's created 1, 2, 3 more. So that's exciting. Hoping for the same thing for these new guys as well. So that's new. And then of course, let's go in. That's what the space is looking like right now from the onions. Like I said, I will amend these areas and direct sow some beans. I believe will do pretty good in these areas. Oh, hey, what is that? I don't know what that is. My cabbages that were along the side here have been harvested as well. I'm not exactly sure what I want to put in the aisleway just yet. I was thinking maybe some sort of herb. Maybe I'll just go on ahead and as this cilantro here dries out, maybe I'll just let those dry up and just reseed in these areas here so they can continue to come again and again, which is what this plan is. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. This was a cilantro that went to seed and I just allowed it. It did the same thing last year, which is how it came back. I did not put this out here, but it just volunteered itself. So you can see it at different stages. This is what it looks like as it dries, but it starts off pretty green, beautiful white flowers, and then it forms the seed to be able to, reseed itself. All of my peppers are beginning to get a little bit of size, all except for these guys, which are my shiseidos. I think this corner here is just being depleted by this huge sage and lavender that I've had here for years at this point. So I really need to go through and fertilize really all of this entire bed to replenish the soil from the onions, give a good feed to the tomatoes, as I said, and then especially in this area here, I might put in some granulated fertilizer as well. But the peppers over here, you guys, hold on. Let me get low. I have my first eggplant forming, so that's really exciting. And then this guy here, which is the Sugar Rush cream pepper. You guys, this thing is loaded down with peppers. And this is a really good pepper too. So if you have not tried this one before, I highly recommend it. As for the rest of them, they're slowly but surely putting on some fruits. It's just been really tight and crowded with all that I had in this bed, but all in all, I'm really pleased. My holy basil is beginning to fill out. I need to cut it back so it continues to want to fill out. So all you do is pop these flowering bits off so they continue to do their thing. And oh my gosh, that smells so good. As I'm plucking these off, it's just like wafting aroma. It smells so good. But yeah, that's all you want to do to keep your holy basil going strong. But I really wanted this to fill out in this area, and the same for my rosemary. My rosemary, she doing all right. This is like from seed, honey, busting. Very much proud of her. Smells amazing as well. It's really amazing all the things that we can grow that just seem so difficult in your head when you first get started with gardening. Everything is just so overwhelming, and all of these days to maturity just seem like such a long time. But once you're in it and like you get to this point in the season and everything's flourishing, everything's fruiting, everything's budding, everything's blooming, baby, I mean, there's no greater feeling. So if you are afraid to grow something, just try. And that goes for anything in life. If you are afraid of something, do it anyways. I believe Jessica had a word in one of her videos about the same thing. Do things scared, even if you feel like you'll fail. Worst comes to worst, you'll get an itty bitty fruit, but it's still fruit. Like in the case of my onions, where'd they go? There they go, over there. In the case of my onions, they turned out itty bitty. I grew them way too close to each other, did not feed them nearly enough, but I still got a harvest. So do things however way you feel about it. If you're scared, do it anyway. All right, so this bed back here changed a lot since we have harvested our garlic. I believe I've shown you guys, maybe not, I don't know. So let's just go through everything. Obviously the chamomile is still chamomiling. My squash here looks like she a little stressed out, but she'll be all right, child. And then my okra here that I put in is just now starting to like really do something. So we'll see what happens here. And then I transplanted all of the beans that I had started up on my deck. Let's go around real quick. These here are the cowpeas, black eyed beans, black eyed beans, black eyed beans, I don't know, child. And then the edamame, and then I did poke in the melon back here. My idea was it can grow in back of the squash and beans that trellis. And then in addition to those, I did sow these out a while ago, but I direct sowed a bunch more royal burgundy bush beans because I really like those. I think they're beautiful and they grow wonderfully. As you can see, this one got chomped down pretty good, but you can see all of those blooms that are still coming on regardless of the fact. And then here we have just a nice little patch of, these are the, what are they called? These are the pink hull cowpeas, I believe. Don't call it a happy mistake. So my 2-year-old had the bag of seeds and just dumped them over. I scrounged up as many as I could out of the mulch, and then I was like, whatever happens with the rest is whatever happens. And they are wanting to grow in this mulch, so I'm trying to do my best to step over them every time I remember that they're here, just so we can see what happens. I mean, why not? And speaking of Soul's doing, this here is basically her plant at this point, and she can do whatever she wants to with it, but they are the sugar magnolia peas. You can see they are dying back at this point, so I am allowing these to go to seed. Well, they naturally go to seed, but you know what I mean, allowing them to dry on the plant so I can later on harvest the seeds. And then over here, my cucumber plant, the one that I ended up purchasing as a transplant, is doing really well on this trellis. I'm really proud of it. I'll go on ahead and stick in a clip here of Solana enjoying the first harvest. That has been my biggest joy of my garden so far this year. Last year, she was way too young to like thoroughly enjoy my garden. And all of my kids were like way too old to like really care about what I was doing out here when I finally decided to start gardening. And I just love that Solana loves the garden as much as I love the garden. And as you've seen from the clip, enjoys the snacks as well. All right, so on this side of the trellis, all of our winter squash here is finally beginning to climb, doing well, not mad at it. And then my pole beans here are beginning to climb and doing fabulously. Very, very proud of those. And then recently I popped in this plant here from the garden center. These were on clearance, and so I grabbed 3 and I stuck all 3 of them joints up in here. But these are cucamelons or mouse melons. It's just another snack for Solana to enjoy, and it looks like somebody else was enjoying a snack here, which is fine. But yeah, I grabbed these because they were on clearance, well established. These typically take a little bit of time to get kick-started, so I am not concerned about the crispiness or neglect of this plant at all. I know that it's going to bounce back nicely and eventually will cover this little corner of the trellis. And on this side of the trellis, first of all, get into the gloriousness of this cherry tomato, which is beginning to blush. This is the Sweet 100s. I told you guys last year this was probably like my most prolific and crazy wild cherry tomato. So this year I really wanted to allow for it to take over this side of the trellis here, and you can see it is almost nearing the top. All right, so yeah, like I said, 1500 year bean. This was one of the noodle beans. It looks like it is finally thinking about running up. We'll see what ends up happening. I might go on ahead and poke in a couple more seeds over here. My pickling cucumber is looking good. My silver is looking super puny still, but it's not getting eaten up either, so that's not a bad thing. This here is the Ashley cucumber, looking really good. Lemon cucumber, and then my Malabar spinach is finally beginning to get some size on it. So this side of the trellis is looking really promising as well. So glad that my cucumbers are looking amazing. This is a stretch from last year. Now over here, we still have leeks. We have harvested some, but I think I'm gonna allow the rest of these to try to get a lot thicker. I'm just going to be plucking the scapes off as they begin to come in and just continue to let these grow and see what happens. My celery is looking awesome. I can probably harvest some of this really soon, so I'll probably do like a cut and come again situation with these guys. These beets are still going. I'm gonna allow for them to continue to go because none of them have really bulbed up, or then again, I could just clear all of this out and add some more like kales and things in, which those are new. These three here, 1, 2, 3. I just put those in not too long ago, so these are beginning to fill out, even though the red Russian there looks a little pathetic. I found a worm on it, but it should bounce back just fine. And then my carrots are also still going. I did a test pool on one of them and they were decent size, but I definitely want to allow for these to go a lot longer. All right, and then the squash here also looks quite pathetic, but I think everything is pretty much due for a fertilizing. But hold on real quick, almost forgot. We got our first sunflower. I believe this will be a multiflora. You can see that we have additional blooms on this guy, so I'm really happy to see that. And then also this one over here, I forgot to show. This one also is going to be a multiflora as well. These ones over here on this corner always get humongous, which is great. But yeah, that is, oh, I forgot. Soul's Garden, duh. So I put all of these additional peppers in this grow bag here. And then her garden is still holding up pretty well. The bananas are starting to put off some peppers. I believe this one is actually a jalapeno, so I will have to be really careful to watch her, make sure that she doesn't grab anything off of here. And then she has been harvesting all of these green tomatoes on these Patio's Choice yellow cherries. But I mean, it's her garden, she can do whatever she wants. And then I also put in some of those cowpeas over here to hopefully correct the soil. They look like they are doing all right. You can see sis has also been kind of chopping them out, but again, this is her garden, she can do whatever the heck she wants, child. So those look really good. And then my blueberries and strawberries still holding on. This one single blueberry on this plant, literally I've only harvested one off of both. Well, just actually that one gave me one berry and this one is giving me one berry, so that's exciting. I have a feeling this video is really long, so if you have made it this far in this video, I would like to thank you for your dedication. I appreciate you all spending your time with me today as I handle some tasks and just give you guys an overview of the garden. If you enjoyed, please make sure that you go on ahead and stick around on my channel, hit that subscribe button, subscribe, like this video if you did, and until the next time, I'm gonna get my butt in the house. It's hot and these mosquitoes still eating my ass up. So I thank you all so much for stopping by. I wish you health, wealth, and prosperity. And until the next time, peace.